Hey, girl farts are the worst. Yeah, let's go. So I want to tell you guys a story about when I was 12 years old. Growing up, my family used to go almost every year, if not multiple times a year, from Nebraska all the way up to northern Minnesota. Oh, you fucking easy, buddy. Up to northern Minnesota to the Boundary Waters Canoe Wilderness area, the BWCA. And that was a blast, man. It was the chance to get away from society, get away from the normal routine. And we'd be up there for like, I think the shortest trip we ever did was like 8 days. And you get up into the wilderness, man, you get to a lake, and you've got a canoe on top of your car, and you have all your stuff in backpacks, and you get out, you put the canoe in the water, you load it up with all your stuff, and that's it, man. You travel via canoe across the lake, and then if you want to go to another lake, there's portages, and where you have to like grab everything, make multiple trips between the lakes. Some of these were like 1 to 2 miles long, so it was crazy round trip, man. Lots and lots of physical endurance needed. But anyway, my dad, to kind of like help all of us kids have our like coming of age moment, the tradition was when we were 12, we would get to do a special trip with dad and then like whoever else we wanted to come. And for me, that trip was just me, my dad, and my uncle. So the crazy thing about this trip in particular is we were about 3 or 4 days in, and I was cutting firewood with my hatchet. And what I would do is I'd have my chunks of wood, maybe about this here to here. Not very big pieces, but I was splitting the wood. So I'd stand it up on end, I'd hit it with the hatchet, get the hatchet stuck in there, and then I'd lift the whole thing, hit it on a rock to help split it. You know, because we didn't have a big axe, we didn't have room for big tools. So I'm splitting wood, I've been working at it for like 45 minutes to an hour, and I get my hatchet stuck in one piece, and I lift it up to hit it on the rock, and the frickin' hatchet slips out of the wood, and it's a heavy piece of wood, so I frickin' whap myself in the forehead with the back end of the hatchet. It hurt so bad, I almost knocked myself out. Well, long story short, a few minutes later, I started to feel tired, I started to feel a little sick, so clearly I had a concussion. So I told my dad and my uncle, which is ironic because my uncle's a doctor, I said, I'm gonna go lay down in the tent for a little bit. And they're like, okay. Like, dude, I think at that point my uncle should have been like, oh, you whacked yourself pretty good there, son. Maybe you shouldn't lay down because you might have a concussion and you might die. But that's besides the point. Obviously I'm here, but this is where it gets interesting. Because while I was in the tent sleeping, a 300 or 400 pound black bear wanders into our camp, comes over by the tent, sticks his head inside the tent, and is sniffing around. I'm in that tent, dude, and I'm 12 years old. I can't fight off a bear. So my dad and my uncle, they grab all the pots and pans that they can get, and they start banging them around, dude. I slept through all of that commotion, and I woke up like an hour to an hour and a half later, and they're telling me this story. I'm like, are you kidding me? And it was finally at that point that my uncle was like, dude, if you slept through all of that, you probably shouldn't have gone and laid down after hitting yourself in the head the way you did. Ha, you think? Now, black bears typically don't, you know, attack humans unless their cubs are threatened or they feel threatened. So I'm sure like I was completely safe, but there's always that one chance. There's that 1% or 0.01% chance of random unprovoked shit to happen. Like, what would have happened if that bear would have just like jumped in and like grabbed me? Oh man, crazy to think about.
One eternity later.
So that reminds me of another thing that happened a few years later. This one's not as potentially dangerous as the first story, but it's way, way more funny. So, junior high, well, I guess middle school, because apparently, like, you're not supposed to say junior high anymore because it's not PC enough, which I don't agree with. It's literally junior high school or pre-high school. Like, come on, man. What's up, dude? Shirtless, nice. So yeah, junior high frickin' Spanish class, man. We're sitting there, and there's this kid named Jay. And Jay was a quiet kid. He was like the epitome, like textbook definition of an inside kid. He never really talked much. He didn't really have any friends, but he was a super nice kid. But he was the, like, he'd always answer the question. He was really freaking smart. And we're sitting there in class one day, and he leans from his desk across the aisle, and he's like, "Hey, girl farts are the worst." Like, seriously, it was hilarious. It had nothing to do with anything that was going on. And the next thing you know, like, everybody's laughing, and the teacher's like, "What happened? Like, what's going on?" And like, obviously nobody'd say it because we didn't want to get in trouble, but it was funny, man. So I came up with a theory, because I would always tell that story of, like, because it was funny, man. Like, Jay, the kid that never talked, like, leaned over in the middle of class, and girl farts are the worst. So I have a theory about it, and here we go. I'll tell you the theory. So guys, we all know, and girls, you know your guys, like, we're not ashamed of letting one rip. So we're not gonna hold it for a long period of time. We're not gonna let the stink build up, and then when we do let it go, we're gonna let it go quick. And you know, our butthole, aka sphincter, it's not going to be open for that long of time, therefore not letting that much stink out. Now girls, on the other hand, and girls, I know you like to say that you don't toot, you don't poop, you don't do any of that. We know it's a lie, you're human. But because girls want to keep that reputation, they're going to hold a fart in. They're going to let it fester in the intestines with all them poo particles, and it's going to build the stink up. Then, when it comes time to relieve and alleviate the pressure of their butthole, aka sphincter, they're going to try to do it as silent as they can, so it's going to be a long, drawn-out, slow seepage of air, therefore leaving the sphincter open for a longer period of time, therefore letting more stink out. I mean, that's a great theory. I find it to be very well put together. Let me know what you think. And yeah, sorry girls, but we're on to you. Your farts are the worst. And don't get me wrong, there are guy farts that'll clear the room. But, you know, that's just because we're gross, and we probably drink more beer, and we probably eat more gross stuff. But admit it, ladies, you're not fooling anybody. But yeah, that's story time with 402 today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope that I see you guys next time. Yeah, see you later. Bye.